We did this 100 years ago as progressives, right? That guy in the middle, Robert M. La Follette, they fought the robber barons who were doing the same thing 100 years ago and changed the course of political history. So now here we are again. We need to understand how we got here in order to look at the scope of the problem. So this started in 1968, the Nixon campaign. Republicans had a huge problem. Conservatives, more specifically. Okay? What were the problems? Vietnam War protests. All those liberal academics, hippies, burning flags.
Us.
Yeah. Right? Women burning bras all over the country.
Never happened.
The women's lib movement, right? The civil rights movement. Okay? Things were really bad for conservatives in 1968. And they needed a strategy. And the Nixon campaign came up with that strategy. What was it? They started the conservative populist movement. And what is happening today is a result of conservative populism. And they coined the term liberal elite. Richard Nixon was going to be the what? The law and order president. He was going to put all those hippies, all those liberal academics, all those women who were rebelling against what? American values, family values. He was going to be the law and order president and bring all those people into line. He coined the term liberal elite. Created a metaphor. There's really no such thing as liberal elite. It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
Right? All those Birkenstock wearing, academic, looking down their nose at you, they don't understand what the working man goes through. Very powerful. And it persists to this day. That was step one. Has anybody ever heard of the Lewis Powell memo?
Oh yeah,
1971. Lewis Powell was Richard Nixon's first Supreme Court nominee. He wrote a memo to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. The memo said, the American free enterprise system is under attack, and that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce members need to put as much money and resources to basically what Richard Nixon said, to controlling the liberal elite, start taking back academia, put together think tanks, well-funded think tanks, to promote free enterprise, start judicial training sessions. Do you guys have any idea that conservatives hold judicial training sessions all over the country? And you know what they teach judges? How to interpret the law to favor free enterprise. This started in 1971. This was not based on an issue. That's what I want to get to. It was based on the values of free enterprise, personal liberty. What conservatives started calling traditional American values. Okay, and what does this have the effect of doing on a national scale? Changes common sense. Two years later, as a result of the Powell memo, the Heritage Foundation is founded. Any of you been to Washington, D.C. and seen where the Heritage Foundation is located?
Yep.
2nd Avenue Northeast in Massachusetts, about 4 blocks from the U.S. Capitol. Here's the Heritage Foundation's mission. Promote conservative public policies based on the principles, translation values, free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional American values, and strong defense. None of those are issues. Strong defense is kind of, but it's a protection. It's a protection frame. Those are all values. It's nothing to do with issues. In fact, it speaks to every issue. So the Heritage Foundation gets millions and millions of dollars every year to do whatever they want to promote free enterprise. So we're in 1973. 6 years later, this is based in Virginia. It's called the Leadership Institute. They train thousands and thousands of young conservatives every year. That is a graduating class from what they call the Youth Leadership Conference. They're held all over the country. In fact, in early January, there's one in here in Milwaukee. It's 2 days, all day, all night, meals included, $15. You think somebody's underwriting that? They hold it all over the country. They hold it online. They have resources. In fact, get out of this. Here is the website, if I can get over to, all right, here's the website for the Leadership Institute. I don't know if you can see, you have Youth Leadership School, Arlington, Virginia, November 21st to 23rd. Campaign Management School. Wednesday Wake Up Club Breakfasts. Advanced Debate Workshop. Women's Leadership Training. Public Relations School Advanced. Conservative Career Workshop. Real Activism on Campus. There's January 10th and 11th, Youth Leadership School in Milwaukee. Written Communication Workshop, writing your campaign plan, March for Life, training and lodging package. This targets kids in high school and college. Last year they trained 15,000 conservatives. So, just to give you an idea of what we're up against and how long this has been going on. They have a reception, they have dinners, they have a dance. It's crazy. Here's what's important. They also manage a speakers bureau. Right? George Lakoff has had the experience of, knowing people who book these things, and they have lists of conservative trained leaders on every issue area who are available to go on local, statewide, national talk shows and communicate the message. And they run a booking agency. So they'll call WTMJ and say, oh, hey, you're doing a piece on voucher schools? Look, we got so-and-so from wherever, and they book them. So that's 1979 that's been going on. 1985, Grover Norquist starts Americans for Tax Reform for Ronald Reagan. The other thing he did, which was more important, the ATR, was in 1993 he started a Wednesday morning meeting in Washington, D.C. It's from 9 o'clock to noon every Wednesday morning in a restaurant near the Capitol. And what they did was, the first hour was just a meet and greet. They'd have coffee, donuts, stuff like that. Meet the best and brightest in the conservative world. Second hour, they would do a debate. So whenever they had an issue where conservatives didn't have consensus, and there are, clearly, they have a debate time. And Norquist would pick the people who were the best at each topic. And they would have an hour of debate, heated debate. They would take questions from the audience. And at a point where they would reach consensus, he would stop the debate and he would restate the conservative position, right? They would take that, send it off to the Leadership Institute and the Heritage Foundation and other think tanks and say, look, here is our position on this. Create the message and get it out there. And within a week, it'd be all over the country. And these meetings are still happening. They happen in every state in the nation. The one here is in the Country Inn out on I-94. Every Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock. You don't get in unless you have an invitation. They're all over the United States, every state in the nation, and 12 countries around the world. And Norquist gets regular check-ins from every group. Right? So why is conservative economic policies so prevalent in Europe? It's because these meetings are being held all over the world, promoting the conservative frame of economics. And what does that do? Since 1993, it's solidified the machine. See, now you're going, we're screwed. We're so screwed. But what you're going to learn today is what conservatives have known and put into practice for 50 years. Number one, it's how your brains actually work. Right? And to the point of why what you learn matters early on in life, first of all, you lose half of your neural circuitry before you're 4 years old.